Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulil Nabiyil Kareem. Amma ba'd. Faqad qala Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala fil Qur'anil Majid wal Furqanil Hamid. Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut. Sadaqallahu al-azim wa sadaqa rasuluhu an-nabiyyul kareem. Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna 'alan nabiy. يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد حتى ترضى، وصل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد بعد الرضا، وصل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد أبدا أبدا. My respected ulama, Zishan, from Leicester, and all other ulama and guiders and teachers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We've heard some really, really beautiful, I'm going to move this a little bit this way, hopefully it falls over here. No, that's okay, I've heard some beautiful recitations and beautiful kalam and praises of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And I want to just take a couple of seconds. I know I've been given, am I audible? That's fine, yeah, I'm good. I know I've been given a short time because of the time that we have currently. But I just want to give a few seconds to read the shayar, inshallah. Parde ko utha dena, Ashraf simrani. पर्दे को उठा देना, ऐ अशरफ सिमरानी। पर्दे को उठा देना, ऐ अशरफ सिमरानी। पर्दे को उठा देना, I believe that everybody needs to be woken up and understand why you're sitting here, inshallah, and create that love for the personality whose urs we are celebrating today, inshallah. One time, please, can we send collectively the root of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali sayyidina Muhammad wa barik wa sallim wa sallim alayhi. All entire praise belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is the Lord, the Master, the Creator, the Owner, the Nourisher, the Sustainer of the entire Alameen. May the highest form of salutation be for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who is the most beloved of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. the most beloved of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it is through the Waseela of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that we gain and find the qurbat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states in the Quran, قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهُ وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبَكُمْ وَاللَّهُ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. Say, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, to those that want to love me, فَاتَّبِعُونِي, follow Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهُ, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will love you, وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبَكُمْ, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive your sins, and you will find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala most merciful. So the path of love to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the path of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. As Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is stated in the hadith, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى أكون أحب إليه من ولده ووالده والناس أجمعين. You will not become a complete mu'min until you love me more than your walad, parents, ووالده, your grandparents, وكل ناس أجمعين, and everybody else. So we understand that the connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is through the connection of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. What if I tell you that the connection of you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is such that you might not be capable to take the electricity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Allahu Akbar. We know and we see from the Quran that when Musa alayhi salatu wa salam wanted to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, lan tarani, you cannot see me. So the current and the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is of such that if we would touch it, we would burn. Understood? So this is why there is the current and the touch of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And there are those, like myself, that don't have that capability to touch the current of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And when we do not have the capability to touch the current of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, this is why Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have friends, Waliullah. Because it is the Waliullah, I don't know if you have any people here that understand a little bit of electrical science, but it is current and resistance that allow you to understand ampage. So if your resistance isn't capable to touch the resistance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then your resistance should maybe become capable to touch the current of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And if your resistance isn't capable to touch the current of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, henceforth Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has people that He loves, Waliullah, that are close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How does this Waliullah becomes the Waliullah? In the hadith we learn that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has explained that my servant draws near to me. My servant draws near to me, near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in nawafil and ibadat, until I become the hands that he touches with, until I become the mouth that he speaks with, until I become the eyes that he sees with, until I become the feet that he walks with. One question here. The servant becomes that personality that he becomes the hands, likewise the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That servant must create that resistance to be able to become that personality that touches the capability of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allahu Akbar. So the servant himself makes himself capable that I do not touch those things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want me to touch. I do not see those things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want me to touch. I do not speak about those things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want me to speak about. I do not walk in that path that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want me to talk about, walk about. So friends, brothers and sisters, we understand that this system of relationship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and relationship from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala consists also of a resistor or a transformer of Waliullah. And today we are here to remember the Urus, and I'll come to that in a minute. We're here to remember the Urus of such a Waliullah that gained that closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we have all got the orange scarves here, which are the people that are the lovers of the Chishti order, the lovers of the Nizami order, and the lovers of the Ashrafi order, because these were all friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as explained in this hadith. I quoted the ayat, Kullu nafsin za'iqatul maut. Every soul shall taste death. Za'iqa. Understand, taste. The za'iqa is a temporary movement. It isn't something that stays permanent. It isn't something that we can actually do something with. Somebody had a question over there? I saw a hand coming up. Zaika is a taste. So it's a passing by situation. You have some doner kebab and afterwards you drink some water and the taste of the doner kebab washes away. Zaika. Many Sufyan-e Ikram explain that our life is a life, death, life, death, life, death. But we understand that every time when it is life, death, it's a movement forward, it's a gear forward, rather than a gear going backwards. When a child is in the womb of a mother, this is the place for the child, this is its dunya. This is all it knows, it doesn't know anything else. It's the comfort, the heat, the raham, the mercy of the mother. It doesn't know anything else until a such point comes that the child needs to come to this earth. I ask you, this is the birth date of the child. Birth date, born. Was that child not alive in the stomach? Was the child's ruh not alive in alam arwah? So life is a continuous cycle of life and death. This child comes from the womb of the mother and dies from the aspect of the constriction and coming out. Henceforth, Sufyan-e Ikram explained that this is the reason why the child cries. Because it is leaving its comfort of its world, the raham of the mother, and is constricted to come out to this alien world. And as it comes out to this alien world, it becomes mahir in this world. It learns everything in this world, and it starts loving this world to such a point that this world is a better world than was in the raham of the mother. Ask anybody, at this particular point, would you go back in the raham of your mother? Of course not, because it's a smaller area. This is bigger. We see the wide world with our eyes, we perceive it, we touch it, we see it. So we move forward. But brothers and sisters, we need to understand that maut is also, death is also a way forward. Two hadiths I want to bring to you, and then inshallah ta'ala I'll pass the mic on to the speakers after me, inshallah. We know that when a person passes away, there are questions in the grave. We pass away, we are buried, the last person leaves its 40 steps, and the two angels come towards you. Ma rabbuka, who is your Lord? Ma dinuka, ma kunta takunu hadha rajulun. What did you used to say or do about this particular person? Hadha, this person. Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. I want to compare this hadith with another hadith found in Tirmidhi Sharif by Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. So we understand that the awam and the generic questionnaire of failing and passing to the other world, which must be bigger. Right? It must be bigger. Because we come from the womb of the mother, we move into this bigger place, and there we get bigger. Allahu Akbar. Where the veils are removed and everything is visible to you. And the nuraniyat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes down in your grave, or your grave is squeezed. So we move on to the other part of the world. We understand that these three questions are asked. Rabbuka, you failed that question? Are you punished? Is the questioning stopped? La. Dinuka is definitely going to be asked. Regardless whether you pass or fail that first question, you're going to be asked that second question. So what if you fail the second question? Allahu Akbar. You're still going to be asked the third question. Ma kunta takulu hadha rajulun. What did you used to say or do about this person? Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Understand therefore that the first and second question can't really be compulsory. Allahu Akbar. Because if they were compulsory and you would have failed them there, the second question wouldn't be needed, and neither would the third question be needed. Allahu Akbar. Which brings you to the hadith of Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Where Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu explains that when one of you passes away, or when one of you is buried in their qabr, he immediately goes to the point that Munkar and Nakir will be coming to you. And he immediately goes to the point of the third question. Allahu Akbar. Hazrat Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu in this particular hadith doesn't even mention the first or the second question. Subhanallah. So we understand from this that this hadith is to explain the importance of that third question. Subhanallah. We understand that it is awam to have the first and the second question, but this hadith is going to give you more insight what that third question is about. Ma kunta taqulu hadha rajul. What did you used to say about this person? Which is Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam will be asked to you. Whomever is right will say this is Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, the servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Rasul of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The hadith carries on to say that at that particular point his grave will be expanded 90 cubits by 90 cubits. In it, Nuraniyat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will come down. Allahu Akbar. The person will say, Kharaja, let me come out of here, towards my family, so I can go and tell them. He reaches the status of qurbat where graves get bigger. He sees that the daliyat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the nuraniyat, Roshan meri turbat pakarna. Allahu Akbar. The person that was reading that naturally, I was thinking exactly about this. The turbat will become Roshan by the nuraniyat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And at that point the person will say, may I come out of here to go towards my ahl and to explain to my family what status I have received. The angelics will answer, Nam kanamatul urus. Sleep like a bride sleeps on the night. This is the urus that we're talking about. The hadith then carries on because we were talking about that third question. You remember the explanation of that third question? Because at this particular point, the hadith carries on and says, and those that can't answer the question, Allahu Akbar. So regardless whether they pass the first question or the second question, those that can't answer that third question, the grave is squeezed. Allahu Akbar. So we understand, brothers and sisters here, that the recognition of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, the remembrance of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, the love of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam will benefit you in the qubur. It is the way and the methodology that the Awliyah Allah sleep as nawm ka nawmatul urus. We understand that without Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, on the day of judgment you will be thirsty. Allahu Akbar. We understand that without Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, when you try to cross that Pul Sirat, without him in your sight, you won't even cross that Pul Sirat. Allahu Akbar. And if you find a way to get to the door of Jannah, Allahu Akbar, without Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala wasallam, that door of Jannah will not open. But let's come back to what we're talking about. We're talking about the urus. Sleep like a bride sleeps on the night of their wedding. Why? We look at further hadiths and we understand that when a Awliyah, a friend of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala passes away, his ruh is taken. And some narrations explain accompanied by 500 muwakkilats. 500 sounds a bit like julus, doesn't it? It's accompanied by muwakkilats and taken to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And at the place, this julus of this person that is a lover of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he is beloved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This julus goes up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is commanded by the angels to do sajda of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And after he's done sajda, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answers to the angels, I will tell you about him on the day of judgment. This is such a status of an awliya Allah. And when he has met his Rabb, that night when he met his Rabb, Allahu Akbar, and he comes back to the grave and the angelics tell him, Nam ka nawmatul urus, sleep like he slept that night. Because he met the muhib. He met the person that he loved all his entire life. Now, let me explain something to you. That doesn't mean that the Awliya Allah sleep. Because if somebody is going to sleep in anticipation of meeting Allah, what kind of sleep is that? You twist, you turn, you think, you dream, you wait, you anticipate. That kind of sleep is nawmatul urus. That kind of sleep is this day, this Urus day, when Makhdoom Ashraf Shah Jahangir Aleyh Rahmah met his Lord. Allahu Akbar. And this is one of the reasons that we remember this particular day, because this is the date when the Muhib, the beloved, met the beloved. And at this particular point, when we can remember this particular status of the meeting between the loved and the beloved, Allahu Akbar, may it be so that we also become recognized by the color of the Ashrafi order, inshaAllah ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability and the tawfiq to love Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability and tawfiq to become, or take the challenge, to become the hands that we talked about, to become the tongue that we talked about, to become the eyesight that we talked about. Because it takes a challenge. You must challenge yourself to walk in the path of Allah, talk in the path of Allah, see in the path of Allah, and hear in the path of Allah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability and tawfiq to become those people and become true lovers of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. And may He recognize us as His ummah, inshaAllah ta'ala. Wa akhir da'wani, alhamdulillah.